This is Lexus Game Day on KPIX 5.
Good evening, everybody. Game Day on location from Auburn, California for the second straight week. Now, normally we'd be talking Final Four and the opening weekend of the baseball season. There will be no Final Four. We're still hopeful to hear those words, play ball. The Oakland Coliseum sat empty Thursday on what should have been opening day. The A's were scheduled to host the Twins.
Hey Giants fans, I know we all wish we could be competing for you on opening day and hearing your cheers and support.
The Giants were supposed to unveil Gabe Kapler at Oracle Park this Friday against the Dodgers. Instead, Kapler was talking about flattening the curveball instead of hitting one.
The best advice that I've been given is to behave not as if I'm trying to avoid getting the virus, rather to behave as if I have the virus and I'm trying to avoid giving it to other people. I think this gives us our best chance for success.
A team spokesperson told us that the bullpen relocation project at the park has been suspended for virus mitigation, but they say it will be completed in time for a potential game. Meanwhile, players are left to stay in shape while they wait for a green light. Ranger slugger Joey Gallo is taking full cuts inside his house. Joining us from his home is John Shea, baseball writer for the San Francisco Chronicle. And John, this is your 36th year covering baseball. What was it like to have an opening day come and go without an actual baseball game?
Surreal, man. It's crazy. I think 95 was the only time you could look back and say, well, there was no opening day as scheduled. Remember, that was the 94-95 player strike.
We're hearing a lot talk about timetables, about a possible return for baseball. Is a timetable realistic in your opinion?
I would say throw out any timetable that you've heard. From the commissioner's office, we've heard late May. Fans like to say June. Others would say, hey, maybe at the All-Star break. Come on, let's be real. What we're seeing now is baseball taking a back seat, like way in the back. As Buster Posey eloquently said, let's take care of everything else first, then we'll figure out baseball.
At what point would baseball cancel the season?
If things don't turn for the better, say mid to late July, then you're realistically looking at there's no reason to play ball this year. And maybe we can be optimistic and suggest things will turn by then. And if they do, maybe they have a 2-month season. And if they have a 2-month season, they could place upward toward 60 games in August and September, and then come back with an extended postseason. Why extended? Normally we have 10 playoff teams. The commissioner's office has talked about 14. You know what? I say put them all in and have a bunch of best of threes, have pool play like the World Baseball Classic.
I'm smiling because Giants fans would actually agree with that plan, right?
Gabe Kapler, first year playoff manager. Who would have thought?
Bonus, playoff bonus.
With 5 and 32
so,
or whatever it might be. Who knows?
But when a return is set, would there be a mini spring training? Teams going back to Arizona and Florida to ramp it up?
Well, my experience, again, going back to 94 and 95, when the replacement players who were used and abused and thrown away, ruined a lot of minor league careers, by the way, and some people it favored because they actually got to the majors that way. So once the regulars came in and things were back on track, they gave them only 3 weeks of spring training. Now, for hitters and relievers, that's fine. For starting pitchers, that's not a lot of time. There were injuries in 95 when they played only 144 games. So starting pitchers were not ready. We're a little bit more aware about this stuff now, so maybe they would be eased in more. You know, it's all about safety. It's all about even getting on the field. And imagine 40,000 people side by side. We can't imagine that now, let alone 25 people in the dugout side by side or in the bullpen side by side with no fans.
So if you're talking about a three-week ramp-up process, a mini spring training, that would be around the first week Yeah, sometime in June that process starts. That seems optimistic to me. But in any case, do you expect fans to be allowed to watch these games in ballparks when it does ramp up?
You know, Kevin Gausman and Jeff Samardzija of the Giants back in 2015 played in that game in Baltimore in which there were 0 fans, civic unrest. Major League Baseball, the city of Baltimore, they got together and they said, hey, we'll have a game and there are no fans. I talked to Samardzija about that. He says, I wouldn't recommend it. And, you know, these guys don't want to play in front of nobody. But then again, if we do get the green light for whatever reason, at whatever timetable, maybe it's a healing process and it's a made-for-TV event. Most people watch it on TV, a lot more on TV than actually go to the games. And by the way, it's not going to be held in, the cold cities or in Denver. And, the further we're removed here, we're talking warm weather cities, San Diego, Arizona, which is domed, other facilities that are domed.
Okay, John Shea as our guest, San Francisco Chronicle. We're lighting it up. Lighting the mood a little bit. When we come back, John has the latest book out of his writing career. It's called Willie Mays 24 Life Stories and Lessons from the Say Hey Kid. That's next on Game Day.